In the small village of Mirapur, nestled between dusty roads and golden fields, lived a girl named Anya. With skin kissed by the sun and eyes full of dreams, Anya was unlike most others in her village. Where others saw tradition as a wall, she saw it as something to climb over, or break through, if needed. Anya was the eldest of 4 children. Her mother was a seamstress, known for her quick hands and quiet demeanor, and her father worked at a sugar mill 20 kilometers away. They lived in a 2-room house with a rusted tin roof that roared like thunder during the monsoon. Life was simple, hard, and at times cruel. From a young age, Anya had a thirst for learning. She'd sit under the old mango tree near the village school, flipping through torn pages of books she found in the trash or borrowed from the school's reluctant headmaster. There was a kind of magic in letters, in numbers, in stories about places she could barely imagine. But in Mirapur, girls were expected to help, not dream. By age 10, Anya was waking at 4 a.m. to fetch water, cook rice, braid her sister's hair, and sweep the dusty floor. After school, she worked with her mother, stitching clothes until the candle burned low. When Anya turned 13, her father announced her engagement. "She's smart," her mother whispered that night, tears staining her sewing thread. "She deserves more." But poverty often drowns dreams. The groom was a distant cousin with a steady job. "It was practical," her father said. But Anya, clutching her notebook with trembling fingers, said only 2 words. "Not yet." Her defiance sparked a firestorm. The village elders were insulted. Her father didn't speak to her for weeks. But her mother quietly stood behind her. "Finish school," she said. "Then you'll have a voice they cannot ignore." So Anya worked harder. She tutored younger kids for a few rupees. She sold pap ads in the market, and offered to clean the school in exchange for free textbooks. Every exam, every grade, was a battle, against sleep, hunger, and doubt. At 17, she walked 3 kilometers to a cyber cafe every Sunday and applied for scholarships. She wrote essays under flickering bulbs, sent emails to organizations she couldn't pronounce. Rejections came first. Dozens of them. But she never stopped. Then one summer morning, under that same mango tree where she'd once dreamed in silence, a letter arrived. A full scholarship. Engineering, in a city she had only seen on TV. She held the letter like it was fire and water at once, something that could burn her or save her. The village buzzed with disbelief. Girls didn't do such things. But Anya had already packed her bag. Life in the city wasn't easy. She struggled with English, with machines she'd never seen before, with people who laughed at her accent and her second-hand shoes. But she remembered the nights of hunger, the bruises on her mother's hands, the weight of her father's silence. So she worked. Harder than everyone else. She graduated at the top of her class. She became the first female engineer from Mirapur, and one of the youngest project managers in a leading tech firm. Years later, Anya returned to Mirapur, not as someone who had escaped, but as someone who had come back to build. She started a learning center under that same mango tree. Solar panels powered the lights. Books lined the walls. She hired teachers and trained girls herself. One day, a little girl approached her, clutching a torn notebook. "Didi," she asked, "can I learn too?" Anya smiled, kneeling down to her level. "You already have," she said. "You just need a place to keep going." Years had passed since Anya first opened the learning center under the mango tree in Mirapur. What began with 5 girls and a few donated books had grown into a thriving institution. They called it Udan Pathshala, the School of Flight. Anya balanced 2 worlds now. On weekdays, she worked remotely as a systems engineer for a multinational company. On weekends, she was in Mirapur, teaching, mentoring, building. But with growth came challenges. The village elders, though quieter now, still raised their eyebrows at the ambition of girls. Some parents secretly pulled their daughters out of the center, whispering fears that too much education would ruin marriage prospects. Donations dried up when a few wealthier locals called her efforts too modern. There were weeks when Anya felt like she was holding a mountain with bare hands. One evening, exhausted, she sat under the mango tree, now adorned with fairy lights and a handmade wooden sign that read, "Dreams begin here." Her mother, older now but still quietly strong, sat beside her, sewing a uniform for a new student. "Do you ever think maybe it's too much?" Anya asked. Her mother smiled without looking up. "Dreams are heavy, Beatty. But they're lighter than regret." That night, Anya made a decision. Yudin wouldn't just be a school. It would become a movement. She registered the center as a non-profit. She pitched the idea at a social impact conference in Delhi and won second place, receiving funding to expand. Her old college friends offered to volunteer. One of her former professors helped set up a digital learning lab with donated laptops and internet access. Then, something unexpected happened. One of her earliest students, Meher, whom Anya had personally taught math under the glow of a single lantern, received a full scholarship to a science school in Mumbai. The entire village gathered the night before Meher's departure, many of them for the first time, to celebrate. Even the stern old headmaster who once told Anya to leave the boys' subjects alone stood up to speak. "Maybe," he said slowly, "this tree really does grow miracles." That moment changed something in Mirapur. More families began sending their daughters to the center. The boys, too, started joining. Anya hired more teachers, some local, some from nearby towns. She created a mentorship program connecting students with professionals across India. But Anya's dream didn't stop there. She launched a village-wide solar electrification project, employing women trained in electrical work at Yudin. She helped local artisans connect with online marketplaces to sell their goods. She introduced coding workshops and basic financial literacy for farmers. One summer, she received an award from the Ministry of Education. Standing on a stage in front of cameras and dignitaries, she felt nervous, out of place. She wasn't used to applause. But when she looked out into the crowd, she saw dozens of little girls in bright school uniforms watching her. Some held notebooks. Others clapped wildly. She spoke simply. "I was once told that girls like me should stay quiet, cook well, and marry early. But my mother gave me a book, and a tree gave me shade. That's all I needed to imagine something better. Now, it's not just about one girl fighting the odds, it's about a village learning to rise together." Years later, when Anya's story was featured in a national newspaper, it caught the attention of a global organization. They offered her a role in designing education programs for underdeveloped rural areas across South Asia. She accepted, but only on one condition: her base would remain in Mirapur. She never left the mango tree. Every week, she still taught at least one class under its wide branches. English on Mondays. Life skills on Fridays. Storytelling on Sundays. The tree had grown, too, thicker, stronger. Children now played around its roots, reading, coding, laughing. 25 years after she first said, "Not yet," to the life others chose for her, Anya stood once more under the old mango tree, now gnarled and mighty, its roots deep in the soil of Mirapur, its branches reaching for the endless sky. The school had become more than she ever dreamed: a campus with multiple classrooms, a science lab, a library named after her mother, and a solar-powered computer center built with bricks painted by the students themselves. Yudin had educated over 1,000 children from neighboring villages, and now, some of its earliest graduates were returning, as teachers, doctors, engineers, and storytellers. One of them, Meher, now a computer scientist, had returned to lead the school. Anya, now in her 40s, had slowly stepped back, choosing to mentor and guide rather than lead. Her hair had streaks of silver, and her hands bore the gentle signs of time, but her spirit was as determined as ever. She no longer fought to be heard. She no longer had to. One quiet evening, a journalist visited Mirapur to write a piece titled, "The Woman Who Taught a Village to Dream." As the two sat beneath the mango tree, he asked her a final question. "Do you ever regret not leaving it all behind, taking a life of ease in the city, somewhere far away from all this?" Anya smiled, tracing her finger along the grooves of the wooden sign still hanging from the tree. "Dreams begin here." "No," she said softly. "Because ease was never my goal. Impact was. And roots, if watered right, don't keep you trapped, They hold you steady while you rise. As the sun set behind the fields, laughter echoed from the schoolyard. A group of young girls ran by, their books clutched to their chests, shouting answers to a riddle Anya had once taught Meher years ago. She closed her eyes, letting the sound of their voices settle into her heart. Change doesn't always roar, she thought. Sometimes, it whispers through generations. And just like that, Anya became what every true teacher becomes in time, not the hero of the story, but the soil in which many heroes are born.